Hi guys, Brand here, and welcome to a different kind of video today. I feel like today will be most closely identified as a rant, but I'm not going to be yelling or screaming or getting really amped up today. Just felt really been thinking a lot about things having to do with like Dead by Daylight streaming, the YouTube, all that stuff, collectively, and I was feeling really emotional about it today. So I kind of want to like come back with my musings with something that's constructive and helpful. So I want to make this mostly just as not a message perhaps, but maybe just a little bit of advice. Something that you can listen to if you also make YouTube content for DBD. You also make Twitch content for DBD. If you have a streamer or know a streamer, whether that be a friend or just somebody that you really like a lot that plays this game and makes content for it, just something to listen to send to them, something that somebody who's been in that similar spot and is in that similar spot. I'm not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. Just kind of musings and thoughts to make things feel a little okay. A little bit better. I think one of my biggest problems that I've had making content for Dead by Daylight is remaining happy while playing the game. And I think a lot of that frustration and stress, the big word is stress, a lot of stress that comes from is trying to kind of herald all perspectives and trying to make sure that everyone feels like they're understood. Obviously, this boils down mostly to the killer versus survivor situation. If you don't know, if you're somehow newer to the channel, I have like 3K plus hours on killer and only like 1,000 something on survivor. It's very skewed, and I played killer for most of the time that I've played this game. Now I'm at 4.3K hours. So when I started my YouTube and Twitch journey, to be fair, when I started my DBD journey as a whole, including the content creation aspect, that was very biased, very killer sided. I'm sure you know plenty of content creators who remained that way forever. You know, the one. But even when I only played killer, I still had what I would call them the Survivor Fridays. If you're on the Twitch, you know that. It's open lobby for everybody. Don't have to be followed or sub. You just gotta not be a jerk. If you want to come play, I usually do that at like 7 or 8 Eastern on Fridays. But yeah. We play, and I always did play Sawyer a little bit, but like I was still that guy that was like, you know, screw the survivors, they're so entitled, they're so overpowered, and they always, you know, Swift on comms is cheating. Like, I was that guy. And that made a lot of people happy, and that gave me a lot of traction because I was just kind of like looking at the killer rulebook and just kind of reading it aloud. And it was simple, it was easy, and a lot of people took to that because I didn't really have to think. Like I said, it's just really just like opening up the killer rulebook and just reading it down the line, and people are like, heck yeah, screw those stupid survivors. They're so dumb and so idiotic. I hate every survivor streamer who thinks they're good at the game. Like, just stroking the egos of people who, honestly, if they were in real life, would probably sound really weird and kind of like way too bent out of shape out of something like a side in a video game. But I stroked that for a while. Not because I didn't believe in it myself, but it was just kind of like, it was like free content. It really was just like, it was easy to just make a video complaining about survivors every day, all the time, and people just eat that up. But as I started making more friends in the DVD community and meeting some of the most important people I've met in my life, we would start playing games together, because you can't play killer together, which is one of the reasons I'm excited for Texas Chainsaw as a small aside, is because you couldn't play killer together, which sounds super exciting. But yeah, the only way to play Dead by Daylight together is through Survivor. So I started playing Survivor more and more often, just so as a way to spend time with all these great people I was meeting through the Dead by Daylight community. Like I said, some of my closest friends and people close to me in my life have come through this game, and no matter how things go and how I feel about the game at certain times, I'll always be forever grateful for that. I played the game more and more, and the more I realized, like, hey, this really isn't entitlement on the survivor's part. This thing that killers do actually sucks. This thing that happens on the survivor side of things actually is really infuriating and really frustrating to deal with. And I just, more and more, through like just pure empathy, I was like, oh, I'm kind of seeing why they do certain things that they do and why they react in certain ways that they do. So over time, I started, kind of seeing the game probably more unbiasedly and really started seeing things kind of naturally as they were. But that in turn hurt my killer content because it was always aimed at killer and, making killer mains happy. And that was all it was. And that upset people, drove a lot of people away. And then it got to the point where as of the last year or so, not 2023, but the last year of time since last year, started playing Survivor 50-50. Survivor Killer 50-50. Love Killer more than I ever have. Killer's always a great time, still my favorite role in the game. But I play Survivor half the time. So I, am pretty, at this point, intimately aware with the things that are upsetting and frustrating about Survivor too. Great example, I want to DC out of every Skull Merchant match I'm in because I just don't want to be in a 20 or 30 minute match. Really frustrating, and I hate being there. I'm sure that's not something that's weird to hear, but every time you say something like that, there's always somebody on the other end that's like, well, the Survivors are just bad, the Survivors should need to play better. And then, just even saying anything in the Dead by Daylight community just immediately equates to there's going to be another side yelling at you. You could say the most true thing to ever be said about this game, something completely honest, something completely untethered by any sort of bias, something that's just objectively true about the game, and you would still be able to find somebody in this community that would tear you apart limb from limb, or even making the audacity to say such a thing. And I'm sure you see it down in the comments all the time. I get both. I get both people. I get both really hardcore Survivor mains tearing me up. I get really hardcore killer mains tearing me up. Recently, I made another video about old DBD, and there were just people that had played the game before I did, just hardcore gloating and talking down shit to me all the fucking time about oh, well, you're so stupid because you didn't play then, so clearly you are not allowed to have a take on that. You're not allowed to watch footage about old DBD. You're not allowed to talk to friends who have 9+ hours and ask them how they felt and how things actually were. You're not allowed to watch footage. I already said that. I think, yeah, I already said that one. It's a rant, sorry. You're not allowed to actually do your research and have a take of your own about that. And then there are people that are like, heck yeah, you did your research. I get that. And it's just there's always going to be somebody who fights you. Always going to be somebody who hates your guts. Somebody who tears you apart because they have their own biases and feelings about the game. They just want to push on other people. And that they just not only want to push on other people, but make people feel little. Make people feel like shit. Make people really feel bad for even having a take at all. Feeling anything at all about Dead by Daylight. And I think that's where something I found to be uniquely and incredibly stressful about making content for this game, at least in the current state of player that I am, is because I really do kind of just walk into a game of Dead by Daylight, and it's a very external thing. I don't carry a lot of internal feelings into a match of Dead by Daylight. So if I go in a killer match and I get brand new part hyper focused toolbox, I'm going to be that's dumb, that's stupid, that's broken, I'm tired of that being in my game. And then all the Survivor mains are going to be well, what do you want us to do? You took away all of our perks, so what else am I supposed to do besides Gen Rush, idiot? And then I go into my Survivor games, and like I said, I end up in a Skull Merchant match that's 30 minutes long when the average match of DBD is 10-12 minutes. And I'm bored out of my mind, and I'm crying the whole time. I'm whining, and people are like, wow, you're saying I'm not skilled because I can check notes? Throw drones over gens and sit there for 30 minutes? That's cringe. That sounds like a Survivor main opinion. I'm gonna get it either way. That's essentially what I'm saying. Is no matter what I say, no matter what I feel, no matter how honestly I move and I enter every DBD match, I'm going to upset somebody because I am seeing the game without that lens of I prefer a side anymore. And that's extremely challenging because realistically, most people who play this game do see the game through a lens of either their experience, the side they play. There's a bias that they take into everything. And you are committing cardinal sin if you do not follow the specific biases that they hold. And at least when I was oops, only killer. Oops, I only care about killer. Making content was so much easier because everybody's not in agree with me, and if somebody did try to disagree with me, there was a horde of other killer mains just all around surrounding, ready to just gang up on them and take their lunch money, So it was easy to make that content, and it didn't feel as threatening or stressful or scary to make. But now it's I find a lot that I worry about videos I make in general, whether it be the reacts, the reacts, the commentary videos, which is the bread and butter, and even the match reviews. The match people are getting salty at my match reviews here and there, of like, you don't have like the expertise to be telling people how to improve at the game. There's been nobody who submits a match review that has more hours than I do yet. Keyword yet. There's been nobody who submitted a match review that has more hours than me yet, which means, you know, odds are there's probably something I know about the game that they don't. Not inherently, because hours, you know, don't always necessarily translate to skill. But I like to think I work really hard to be better at the game and learn things every day. I learned something. I learned yesterday that petrified oaks don't stack past 2. Didn't know that. Apparently that's something that's like fairly common known, and I did not know that. 4.3k hours. Didn't know that. I learned something new yesterday. So, but point being is that, like, odds are I can tell them something that's going to be helpful, something that's going to be a good takeaway, which is why I call them takeaways. I got mad at that I wasn't in a good place that I could tell people that. There's always going to be somebody who gets upset with something you say, something you do. I'm not going to be the first or last person to tell you that the DBD community is very volatile, very harsh, and very unaccepting at times. And I think I really got the full brunt force of that when I started playing both sides, started leaving my biases at the door and playing the game and seeing what naturally frustrated me without the lens of that bias. Because it started being that the content was just talking about things that were frustrating the game, period, and not necessarily rallying for one side as like a cheerleader for them. You're not part of the club anymore. You're not part of the club. You're not part of the killer club. You're not part of the survivor club. You're not part of the veteran club of DBD because you don't have enough hours despite having 4.3k. You're not part of the new player club, so you can't tell us how the game is when it's new. Like, I'm not part of any club anymore. And that's like that's the content zone I'm in right now. It's like, I'm not part of any club anymore. So I really don't relate and identify with anybody anymore. And that has been challenging, incredibly challenging, because, like I said, you get it from all sides. Killer mains are mad at you, survivor mains are mad at you, veterans are mad at you, new players are mad at you. Like, it's because I'm not gearing the content towards entertaining somebody's ego and entertaining somebody's bias. It's felt really stressful to do all this. And I think that's, on the flip side, that's kind of the thing that I want to get across to you if you make content for DBD, or know somebody who plays who plays DBD, makes content for it, or is a favorite streamer you know that's been in a rut lately. You are never, ever going to be able to please anybody with this game. You are never, ever going to be able to please even a majority of people that play this game. And I think what this rant is cathartically supposed to be, both for me and you, is just to give up. Not on content creation, but give up on them. Give up on that killer main that just whines every single one of your videos and never changes their mind. Because guess what? They're probably not going to. You know what? They don't want to learn. They don't want to get better at the game. They don't want to acknowledge the game the way it is. They just want to go hide in their 8K hour Andy stream, where that streamer does nothing but bitch for fucking 12 hours a goddamn day about the video game, and feel like that they're justified, instead of having to learn, improve, or self-reflect at all. The survivor main that sits in your comments, or sits in your Twitch chat and tells you every single time you're dealing with anything frustrating on killer that you have no right to complain and you're just a whiny little baby. That person is also probably never going to learn. That person only sees the game one way and clearly is not very receptive to hearing it out or ever changing their opinion, or else, you know, that conflict, that discussion with you would probably go a little smoother. You're never going to be able to impress that person. You're never going to be able to make that person happy. Same thing with the other example I said earlier. Like, veteran DBD players feel a certain way about the game, typically. Either they're like, the game was the best thing ever since sliced bread from 2017 to 2018, and now DBD is a travesty. Or they're like, their gatekeeping experience, like, I have 10K hours, so I know everything more than you. You're never going to appease those people. Like I said earlier, in this way I described it, it's all clubs. They're all clubs. They're all cliques. And, you know, clubs and cliques exist just as a people concept. High school, college, even work, jobs. There's cliques and groups that are always a thing, but you can't ever fit into every group. Even if you are one of those fringe people, like, you know, I typically was, that goes between groups and kind of relates to a little bit about everything, you can never please everybody in all of those groups. You really can't. Somebody's going to pick a fight with you. Somebody's going to, you know, have a bone to pick with you. And as somebody who's, you know, their whole life been a people pleaser, that's a really hard pill to swallow and always has been. But I don't think I ever really accepted that pill when it comes to Dead by Daylight and content creation, is that there really is no way to please everyone. There really isn't. Even like some of your favorite content creators, talk about ATTRIBUTION. I'm in plenty of Discords. I hear people talk shit, so much bad shit about fucking ATTRIBUTION. Sweet guy, wholesome, down to earth, but people fucking. So I have found people that hate his guts, unironically. And sometimes it's literally just as simple as I hate his killer takes, and that's it. That's all it took. Some of the funniest YouTubers you ever watch, Skirm videos are hilarious. People have issues with them. It's just like, there's always going to be people fighting and just being incredibly volatile for no reason. You can't please everybody. You can't make content that's geared towards everyone. So both for me and you, I think our advice is that we just not don't care. But yeah, don't care. I'm trying to find a more polite way to phrase it, but really just don't care. Make what you love. Do what you love. Speak your truth, king or queen or they or Zay, or I can't go down the whole line, but you know, the rest of you. Speak your truth. Have your fun. Do what you enjoy and do what you love. Because, especially in a game like Dead by Daylight that is so naturally volatile, not even just the community, but the game itself is naturally volatile. You could lose an entire game because somebody, you know, brought an overwhelming build that you can do nothing about. Or just the spawn of two tiles together that just happens to create a near infinite, and now you're just losing even though it did nothing. You didn't really do anything wrong. There's so many things in this game that's volatile towards you. Play on the other end. It's a volatile game, and it'll wear you down after a while. And I'm sure so many of you already feel that. And many of you have commented that down below as well. You gotta not buy into the volatility of this game, whether it be the community or the game itself. You are a person who, you know, I don't know how to phrase this. You are a person above the game. You are person first, game second. And the more you let that snake its hands in, whether that's through just content creation or playing the game, the more you let the game kind of in the community kind of snake its hands around you. Remember that you're a person first. You're a person playing a video game. You're not a Dead by Daylight player as a person. You are a person that happens to be a Dead by Daylight player. That's something from education, by the way. It's very important when referring to, especially in special education, you refer to people first. You don't say, oh, my kid's autistic. You say, my kid with autism. It's people first. He is not defined by his autism. He is someone who is a person who is worthwhile and valuable, and is just as valuable because autism is part of that circle of what makes him a full and great human being. That is a part of him, a very big part of him, but it is a part of him, a part of a whole. It's people first language. I feel like that's people first. That's people first. People first language can apply here too. You, whether you're a content creator or just somebody who really avidly loves and plays this game and is really into the community, remember that you're a person first. You're a person that plays DBD first, not a DBD player as a whole person. That's part of your circle. It's not your whole. So hopefully that helps you kind of, that perspective, that, you know, kind of like life advice, helps you put that barrier between you and the game and then you and the community. Because I feel like, not like recently, but just kind of like across my whole journey, just kind of like a small thing that's just built up over time. I find myself more stressed out making content than I have been like my entire time making content. And it's because I'm kind of in this out there area where I'm not part of any cliques or any groups as much as I've ever been. So I'm kind of getting it more from more sides than I ever have. But also I can't please everybody. And I'm a person first over DBD. I'm a person first over DBD as a player and DBD as a content creator. And I will do my best to make what I love and do what I love and do what I enjoy, do what I find fun. And remember that the people that don't get that yet, the people that put their hours first, put their killer role first, put their survivor role first. I am survivor main first. I am killer main first. I am a 12k hour Andy first. And those are the things that define their personality. And that's all they ever want to talk about. They've lost something there. They're the ones that are doing things wrong and worrisome. It's not you. You are fine. You are doing the right thing because you never lost sight of the people first, and that people being you. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully if you make content that resonated with you. I know it's something that I've dealt with for a very long time. And I finally found a way to really like turn it into something constructive instead of just making it a video where like I whined for a long time. You know, I definitely ranted for a while and I wanted to get the full context, but I don't make videos crying. I like to make things that are constructive and thought-provoking. So until I found a way to do that, I didn't want to just make a video about it. But I feel like it finally clicked today. It clicked tonight for some reason. That's why the lights are still on in the background. I didn't even like set things up for like a formal commentary video. I barely got the game on in the background. I thought about not having that there. Yeah, raw rant, raw as it gets. And hopefully that was helpful and constructive for someone, because that was at least the goal. Hopefully it landed for someone. If not, hopefully it was at least entertaining, because, you know, that's what this is at the end of the day. It's entertainment, right? Hopefully it was nice to listen to over your break or on your walk or in the car, you know, where you guys like to listen to this stuff. While you go to bed, I've heard that a lot too. While you drift off to sleep while listening to my voice, which I don't think my voice is particularly comforting, but that's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah. In whatever way it comforts you. It's comfort content. I know what that is. I know what it is. And that's why I make it that way. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for hanging out today, friends. And I will continue to make content and be great for you like I always have been. And you know that happens daily. So, you know, I will see you tomorrow. But if I don't, see you when I see you. Goodbye.